Fortunately, I am joined by someone who knows about all of this. Neil deGrasse Tyson is an astrophysicist and a planetary scientist and the author of the new book, Welcome to the Universe in 3D, a visual tour. Okay, Neil, first of all, I've got to tell you, I'm a big fan. I'm so excited to have you here tonight. First thing I want to ask you, in terms of trying to send messages to these aliens, can you explain why they chose to, or why they want to beam these messages to the Milky Way in particular?
Well, the Milky Way is our own home galaxy, and so a signal would reach stars way sooner than if we tried to send it outside of our galaxy to other star systems. So what do I mean by way sooner? It would get there in thousands of years or tens of thousands of years rather than millions of years. So yeah, I don't wait around for a reply anytime soon. These signals are moving at the speed of light. So, but of course, that's a different question for whether we should do that at all.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to ask you, Neil. It kind of freaks me out. I mean, if there are aliens, and it seems like there's all of this new evidence that they exist out there, would we really want to send that kind of information? I mean, how to get to Earth, would we want to send that out there into the universe?
Well, just to be clear, it's not evidence for aliens that is being presented. It's evidence for things that people can't explain. And just because you can't explain it, that is not equal to the statement that therefore they must be aliens. So they can't be explained. The universe brims with mysteries. So we should investigate it further. I have no hesitation about that. But I can tell you that anyone who's worked for the government knows how profoundly incompetent the government is. So it's easier for me to believe that we've actually been visited by aliens than we've been visited by aliens and the government has managed to keep it a secret. Locked up reports.
That's a good point, Neil. Yeah, that's a very good point. They would have a hard time keeping that under wraps, I think. Yeah,
I'm just saying.
That's a good point.
Think of the janitor at Area 51, right? Who sees the dragon, the alien corpses. They'll just take a picture of it. The janitor will lose his job overnight, but it'll be the most famous, richest janitor there ever was upon hitting the images.
You would think it would have leaked out at this point, Neil. And the interesting thing that I think about is in all these movies that we see, and you made a good point. I said aliens, but really it's just the UFOs that we sort of know exist out there, and it's unidentified and we're not sure what they are. There's no evidence specifically of aliens. But in the movies, at least, they always seem to make them seem much more intelligent than us. I mean, is it possible that they could be out there and actually we're the smarter ones?
So if they have spaceships coming to Earth, we are not the smarter ones. I can tell you that. We haven't left low Earth orbit since 1972. So if they've got technology to reach us, they're in charge. But just to be clear, if you worry about sending signals out there with our home address, I understand and I feel for that, because you don't give your email address to a stranger in the street who's your same species, right? So I understand the resistance, but here's the difference. It's too late. We've been sending TV signals out inadvertently ever since the dawn of television. And so it's called the radio bubble. And it is this bubble of radio waves moving at the speed of light that has been doing it since the 1930s, 1940s. And so aliens out to 80 light years, if they're there, they already know all about us from our TV. And I don't know how accurate it would be. It's just our TV signals, but this is what they'd be basing their understanding of human life on. And seems to me, based on that evidence, they would surely conclude there's no sign of intelligent life on Earth.
It's interesting when you think about how even 5 or 10 years ago, when you had this conversation about UFOs, you were sort of immediately thought of as sort of a crazy person, and it was a real conspiracy theory. And now it's really become a legitimate conversation. I mean, since the government has released some of these documents, we know there was a significant study, a legitimate study that happened for a long time. It's sort of interesting how the conversation has evolved, and now you can actually talk about it, and people don't think you're totally nuts.
Well, that's partly true. There was Project Blue Book out of the 1960s and 70s that was finally released. That was an official government study of objects in the sky And that was kind of useful because if the Russians, remember that was the Cold War, if the Russians were developing some kind of new device, you'd want people looking up and reporting them. So there was a way to report the unidentified or weird objects that you cited. Back then, it wasn't so crazy to have done so. But you're right. If you have headlines now in the New York Times discussing this, so it has reached a new kind of era, for sure. But my rebuttal here is, if there's an alien invasion, it would be crowdsourced by the 3 billion cell phones that are currently active on this planet, which take high-resolution images and video. We would know it. And how many people are looking out their window at airplanes? Anything that comes by, a Google map of your town. If the spaceship were coming in, we'd have so many ways of seeing it, way better than the military can, because we're watching the whole Earth with high-resolution images in ways that they can't. So I'm still waiting for that video of the alien walking off the flying saucer, coming up to greet the person who's about to be abducted. You can live stream that, and that would go viral overnight. We have cat videos going viral overnight. If you get an alien, oh my gosh, that's a game changer.
Yeah, you would think. You would think with phones today, everybody has a camera. Yeah, we would have seen something. But Neil, do you think like the world is really actually ready to know for sure whether or not there's UFOs or aliens? I mean, could people really handle it? I think, would it just freak people out too much? Do you think that's why it's possible that the government has hid it from us?
Well, part of the worry, okay, so two points. So if we send out our return address, there's worry, Stephen Hawking worried about this, others, the Institute for Future Earth or something at Oxford worries about this, that they might come and destroy us. But think that through for a moment. So that fear it's a fear of what aliens might do with a higher technology than we have. But what's that based on? And I think I know. It's based on what our actual knowledge is of what we do to each other. The entire history of high technology civilizations encountering lower technology civilizations has never boded well for the lower technology civilization. So I think we are implanting our cultural societal fears on this mysterious thing out there for which there is no evidence.
Yeah, and I think we base a lot of it on the movies, and we've sort of just created our own view of what it might be like. Neil deGrasse Tyson, it was so nice talking to you. Thank you for being with us tonight.
Happy to be on. Thank you.
New images from the James Webb Telescope may be changing everything, giving scientists a glimpse at what our universe looked like more than 13 billion years ago. And it's not what they expected. In fact, the lead scientist of the study in Nature says he nearly spat out his coffee, saying, quote, "We just discovered the impossible." What he's referring to are 6 massive galaxies dating back 13 billion years. They were only expecting to find, in their words, tiny young baby galaxies. Not ones like this, not ones just as old as our own. Between the new James Webb discoveries and unidentified objects being shot out of the sky this month, questions have certainly been swirling about what is above us. And when it comes to questions on science and the universe, you can't ask anyone better than astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson. He has a new book called Starry Messenger, which challenges readers to examine life's most discussed topics through a cosmic and scientific lens. We welcome now my guest, Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson. Thank you so much for joining us on NewsNation.
Thanks for having me. That was a great introduction. We don't need to do the interview. You did put it all
we're
in the
good.
introduction.
We'll wrap. No, but I want to hear what you have to say about this. Let's talk about the discovery from the James Webb Space Telescope, because the lead scientist says that this upends what was considered settled science. In just 2 or 3 sentences, can you help us understand what is the significance here?
Well, first of all, our best understanding of the beginning moments of the universe, you have this sort of cauldron of matter and energy that isn't quite in a situation yet to form stars or galaxies or any sort of tangible objects we know and love later. And so there's this period of time we identify as the Dark Ages, where, yeah, there was matter and energy, but nothing shining yet. And the matter still had to coalesce and organize into these cities we call galaxies, cities of stars. So here you have this gap. And now the James Webb Space Telescope is identifying objects in the Dark Ages that, by best measurements we have, are large, fully developed galaxies. So who ordered that? All right. So we're justifiably befuddled by it. But there's still other data that can still come in from these galaxies that will derive from their spectra. And when you get a spectrum of a galaxy, it's like the fingerprint of all of the chemistry that's going on in there, and also, well, chemical elements that are going on in there, as well as where we would put it in the expansion model of the universe. Because maybe they're just a weird other kind of object and not the kind of object we think it should be. Because if it's a new kind of object, that's also a discovery. And so, and by the way, the James Webb Space Telescope was conceived and designed to help us understand the origin of galaxies. So we shouldn't be surprised that it's forcing us to scratch our head.
Okay. Well, and from galaxies in the universe to our skies and spy balloons, of course, we're tracking the U.S. recently shooting down that alleged Chinese spy balloon off the Carolina coast, and then shooting down 3 more objects over the next week. So at first, the Pentagon was really slow to confirm these objects were actually not UFA, unidentified aerial phenomenon, and speculation was swirling all over the place. What do you think the likelihood is that any of these objects were extraterrestrial in nature?
Yeah, I think if your first thought is, I don't know what it is, so it's probably alien. Okay, that makes good storytelling and good news headlines, but chances are it's not. Okay? Because it seems to me if we were succumbing to an alien invasion, someone would catch that on a high resolution smartphone that has video and still photos. And so there's 6 billion smartphones in the world. And we shouldn't have to rely on just what the Navy happens to see in the atmosphere in monochromatic, fuzzy video. We have high quality video all around the world. So it would be odd to me if aliens were only putting their probes in front of Navy pilots.
Okay. I appreciate that. And we'd love to get your take as well on the object seen over Mosul just released. There's a clip, it's known as the Mosul Orb now, allegedly taken from a U.S. spy plane over Mosul back in 2016. That footage released from UFO expert Jeremy Corbell. So the Department of Defense refusing to comment on this object. What is your take here?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Okay, I have no idea. I mean, that's the whole point of the U in UFO, or the UAP, which is just the rebranding by the government of UFOs, the unidentified aerial phenomenon. That's like exactly UFO, right? They're equal things. So no, I don't know what it is. So let's find out.
Let me ask you this.
By the way, we have a military that is tasked to protting us from stuff that could harm us. Yes. They should check it all out. Yeah, and if a little green man steps out, bring it into the town square, and then we're good to go on alien visitation.
I mean, I don't know if we're good to go at that point. I think that's the beginning of a whole nother can of worms. But let's talk about UAPs quickly. The U.S. government receiving more than 350 reports of these unidentified aerial phenomenon, the UAPs, in less than 2 years. That's according to a report by the Director of National Intelligence. And about half of the 350, they're, quote, unidentified. Do you think it's likely we've been visited by extraterrestrials or will be in the near future?
Yeah, no, I just, this being put forth as evidence for extraterrestrials is instead, by my read, evidence of things that we don't know, right? The universe brims with mysteries. I don't have any problems staring at something and not knowing what it is, but resisting the urge to say aliens are somehow coming from space. I need better evidence if you're going to make an extraordinary claim such as that. In fact, I need extraordinary evidence, not simply an object in the sky you can't identify. And what would extraordinary evidence be? Like I said, give me high-res video, the alien walking out of the flying saucer or however they got here. And like I said, cat videos go viral instantly. If someone had a video of aliens coming out of an alien spacecraft, that would be known worldwide. You can't hide that. The government can't keep that a secret. All right. So, and plus the government is not good at keeping secrets. Plus the government is not as competent as people think they are about what it is they think they're hiding. The government can't control the sky. They can't control what you take pictures of. So that's the source of my skepticism. But I don't want to stop people from attempting to find out what these are. Go right ahead.
Do you, Neil deGrasse Tyson, think that we are alone in the universe, or do you believe there's other intelligent life out there?
Anyone who studied the problem would totally be all in on there being other life in the universe for sure. And intelligent life, that's kind of hubristic of us to be the measure of intelligence because there could be an alien out there who does not count us among the ranks of intelligent species in the universe. So it's audacious of us to say, let's find other intelligent species just like us. For all we know, they have visited us and went back to their home planet and said, there's no sign of intelligent life on Earth.
I mean, 100%, Neil. And this keeps me up at night. I mean, if something else were to discover us, what are the chances they'll think we're anything better than even amoeba or something like that?
Yeah, this is.
I mean, does it end well?
Kind of my point.
Can I ask?
They
Does
see
it
this
end
one
well?
species.
Yeah.
It won't end well.
Okay.
And by the way, the evil alien trope, I think it's not because we suspect aliens will be evil. It's because we know we're evil to each other when a high technology encounters a low technology. I think they're mirrors to our own behavior of how we knowingly treated ourselves in the history of exploration and discovery. So yeah, aliens are metaphor for our own evil, as far as I can tell.
Wow. Neil, what keeps you up at night?
Wondering whether we are smart enough to answer the very questions we have posed about our place in the universe. Or worse yet, are we smart enough to even know what question to ask? That keeps me awake at night.
Great answers. And this is a fabulous book. You make some pretty remarkable predictions for the year 2050. Self-driving cars replacing all current vehicles. One stood out to me. You say humans will be able to regenerate limbs. We certainly encourage our viewers to check out Starry Messenger. And really appreciate your time. Neil deGrasse Tyson, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Gotta ask you your reaction to the UFO testimony. It's been in the news. I did hear that you said this was the one time in this era of hyper-partisanship where we had a real coming together on Capitol Hill.
If it takes an alien invasion to bring both sides of the aisle together, I'll take it.
But seriously,
Yeah.
what did you make of the testimony?
Well, in science, what people perhaps don't know is that eyewitness testimony is some of the lowest form of evidence you can bring to a scientific conference, which is odd because in the court of law, it's considered quite high. So here we are in these hearings thinking that the pedigree of the person delivering the information adds truth value to what they're saying. Whereas in science, part of what modernized science was our ability to create methods, tools, and machines to replace human senses in the reporting of what we experience. So I just need better data. It would be odd, you see the image there of the tic-tac, the fuzzy tic-tac. Yeah, it would be odd that aliens would only just visit restricted airspace, right?
Well, no, commercial pilots report seeing them too. It's not just military pilots.
Let me restate that. Yes, okay. They report things that they don't understand what they are. We need a really good clearinghouse and a place where people can do it with confidence so they can report on things like this. I have no problems with that. Go right ahead. But that's not the weird part of the hearings that I noticed. The part of the hearings were the claims that we have like aliens bagged in the back 40, who had actually harmed people. That's the interesting stuff, okay? If you've got aliens, what's that term? A new phrase for us all?
Non-human origin.
No, non-human biologics. That's what it was.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you look at the tree of life, you have like animals, plants, fungus, and bacteria. If you subtract humans from all of that, everything that remains are non-human biologics. So it doesn't mean it came from another planet. If they've got life, that's interesting.
You have said you do believe there's life out there. It would be, I think most people believe we can't be the only sentient, intelligent life in the universe. So if you do believe there's life out there, is it so unbelievable to believe that they might have come here?
It's what's harder for me to believe is that they came and no one has sharp video images of them. We have 6 billion smartphones in the world. And at any given moment, there's 1 million people airborne with a window looking out into the atmosphere. And everybody has a high resolution camera, video and stills. And all we have is a fuzzy tic tac and some other fuzzy images. So I joked on, well, I half serious on social media. I said, wouldn't it be weird if the aliens were actually fuzzy and they had a special affection for the Navy? That would explain a lot. What we need, if you have aliens in the back closet, bring them forth, and we can share the analysis with the other scientists around the world. That would be extraordinary. And how come they're members of Congress who don't have security clearance to see it?
Yeah.
What's going on there?
Well, they should.
Don't we have members of Congress who get behind the doors?
Especially
so I'm
because,
waiting, show me an alien.
Yeah, and they're controlling the purse strings. Like all these government agencies that are alleged to be keeping the secret are funded by members of Congress who don't have security clearance to see what they've got. It's a crazy loop. Hey, I did hear that you had heard of, or somebody had told you about a proposal with NASA that maybe they start some sort of an app where people can use their smartphones to take pictures or videos of things that they don't know what they are in the sky, and actually send it to NASA and have some help identifying it. How would that work?
So NASA has been brought in on this to try to help out. How might you coordinate observations that people make of things they do not understand in the sky? Just to remind you, that's what the U stands for in UAP and UFO. UAP, who are they kidding? That's just a rebranding of UFO.
Totally.
Right? Unidentified aerial phenomenon. That's
I think
UFO.
they thought UFO sounded too cuckoo, so let's change it to UAP. And now we're just.
That's why I agree entirely.